I have had this for a bit now, and a few people ask me about it, so here is my take. This is a mesh wireless internet system for people who are tired of weak spots, random dropouts, or a router that is fine in one room and frustrating everywhere else. If you live in a larger place, if your walls are a little stubborn, or if you have a household where video calls and streaming happen at the same time, this kind of setup makes more sense than trying to fix everything with a single router. What makes this one different in day-to-day use is that it can use a 6 GHz band. I'm not going to turn this into a spec reading, but in real life that extra band matters when your 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bands are crowded. In my home, the 5 GHz band gets busy fast once multiple people are on calls, televisions are streaming, and a couple laptops are moving files. With this system, I saw fewer moments where the connection feels like it hesitates, especially at peak times. Physically, the units are small and clean looking. They are the kind of devices I do not feel like I have to hide. No big antennas sticking out, no sharp angles. They feel solid, with a soft matte finish that does not look cheap. They do pick up fingerprints if you handle them a lot, but once they are placed somewhere, you are not really touching them again. Port-wise, I will keep it practical. I like having Ethernet ports available for things that do not need to be wireless, like a desktop or a console or a network switch. I used one unit as the main gateway wire to my modem, and then I placed the other units where I actually needed coverage, not where it looked nice. That ended up being one unit closer to the middle of the home and another closer to the back rooms. Setup was mostly smooth, but it is app-driven, so you are doing this from your phone. I downloaded the eero app, made an account, and it walked me through everything in plain language. It had me unplug the modem, connect the main eero unit, power it on, then bring the modem back up. The app found the unit quickly. I named the location, set the network name and password, and I was online without having to mess with a web browser router page. Adding extra units was also straightforward. The app tells you when you have placed a unit too far away, and I actually used that a couple times because I tried to push one unit to a far corner right away. When I moved it a little closer, the connection stabilized. That is one of those small things that sounds obvious, but it saves time when the app spells it out clearly. Daily use is where I care most, and it has been consistent. Roaming from room to room feels natural. My phone and laptop do not cling to a weak signal as long as they used to with my older setup. I used to have that thing where you walk to another part of the house, and your video call quality drops for a minute until the device figures it out. With this, that happened less often. For real-world testing, I paid attention to a few situations that usually expose problems. One was a workday load with video meetings running while someone else streamed a show and another person scrolled short videos on a tablet. The network stayed stable. I did not see the random buffering spikes I used to get on the far side of the home. Another test I care about is the annoying rooms. In my place, the back bedroom and a corner near the kitchen used to be the weak spots. With the mesh units placed with a little intention, those rooms became usable. I'm not saying every home will be identical, because building materials matter a lot, but I can say I got reliable coverage in areas where my previous router struggled. I also tested wired connections because that is still the simplest way to get predictable performance. With a wired connection to the main unit, my speeds were steady and latency felt normal for my internet service. Wireless performance was good enough that I stopped thinking about it, and that is usually the goal. I do not want to babysit my network. The app is a big part of the experience. It is simple to see which devices are connected, pause internet access on a device, and run a basic health check. I like that it is not overloaded with confusing menus. At the same time, if you are the type of person who wants very advanced settings, you might feel a little boxed in. I am fine with it because I want stability more than endless tweaking, but it is worth saying out loud. There are also security and filtering options. Some of them are included, and some require a subscription. I did not rely heavily on the subscription features, so I am not going to pretend they changed my life. What I cared about more is that the system updates itself. I did see it apply updates without me having to think about it, and I appreciate that because most people do not log into a router to keep it current. One more thing that might matter for some homes is smart home support. It can work with certain smart home standards. In my case, it was nice to have another path to connect and manage some devices, but I still think of this primarily as a network tool, not the center of my smart home. Now for the downsides and limitations I noticed. Because setup and management are so app-dependent, you need to be comfortable doing everything from your phone. If you prefer controlling everything from a computer browser, that is not really the experience here. Also, placement matters. If you just scatter the units without checking signal quality between them, you can end up with a mesh that looks connected but does not perform as well as it could. The app helps, but you still have to be willing to move a unit a few feet and test again. I also found that the clean, simplified settings are a double-edged sword. It is friendly, but there were moments I wanted a little more direct control over certain network behaviors. Most people will never care, but if you are used to highly configurable networking gear, this is a more guided approach. Overall, my impression is that the Amazon Eero Pro 6e system is for people who want their home wireless internet to be boring in a good way. After I set it up, I spent less time troubleshooting, and the weak spots that used to annoy me became much less of a problem. It is not about chasing numbers. It is about whether you can take a call in the back room, stream in the living room, and keep everything connected without thinking about it. Please check the comments section for detailed information about the Amazon Eero Pro 6e Mesh Wi-Fi system. Thank you for watching.